The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us on this Thursday. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. And in court news this morning, Trezell and Jacqueline West are set to be sentenced for the death of one of their adopted sons and child cruelty toward another. The Wests are scheduled for sentencing at 8:30 a.m. Sentencing has been postponed twice before. After a weeks-long trial in May, jurors found Trezell West, 36, and Jacqueline West, 33, guilty of second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and child cruelty regarding the death of 4-year-old Oren. But they failed to reach verdicts on second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in connection with 3-year-old Orson's death. A guilty verdict for child cruelty was returned regarding Orson. The boys were reported missing by the Wests in December of 2020, but prosecutors say the children were killed 3 months earlier. Their bodies have not been found. The Kern County District Attorney's Office has scheduled a tentative news conference if the sentencing moves forward as scheduled and the gag order in the case is lifted.
17 News is your local election headquarters, and 7 GOP presidential candidates faced off in their second debate last night, this time at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley. The far and away frontrunner, Donald Trump, once again not in attendance. Locally, Republican voters gathered last night to watch at Casey's Steakhouse. 17th Jenny Huh was at the watch party and has more.
I'm hoping to see a real breakout of one of the candidates right now. And I don't think that we saw that on the last one.
This a focus of Kern's Republican voters as they came together to watch the second GOP presidential primary debate Wednesday night. If the first debate in August was all about getting to know the candidates without former President Donald Trump in the picture, this one focused on which of these 7 could rise above the others as Mr. Trump continues to dominate the polls.
I think it's hard to do because Trump really sucks out so much of the energy in the room, so to speak, and he's not even there. But I think a lot of the voters, at least here locally, like to see a lot of pushback against the Democrats and their policies.
Ron DeSantis described as the frontrunner among those on the debate stage, as well as Kern's GOP base. Attendees I spoke to said the Florida governor had the best answer on drugs and the southern border. And during a mid-debate check-in, many saying DeSantis was standing out the most.
They all need to score some big points tonight. I would think, though, that there are some candidates that really, quite frankly, have no chance in this primary. People that are diehard supporters of Trump will tell you that none of these candidates have a chance.
Voters also hoping for specific answers to specific issues they believe are plaguing the nation, like border security and the resulting drug and fentanyl epidemic, as well as the economy and high inflation.
Our state is in chaos. This country is in chaos as it relates to criminal law. Crime is out of control. I want to know what they're going to do about it.
Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott, Kern's top 4 names. Those here say while they favor Trump and would vote for him, they're open-minded about the rest of the bunch and deem any of them better than Joe Biden. At the Kern County Fair, for instance.
All right, we're running a pistachio poll, and we give everyone 3 pistachios, and they can put it in the jar of any of the 7 candidates or put all of them in one candidate. And I have to say, we've had to empty the Trump jar just because it keeps overflowing.
And though locals describe Trump's repeated absence as strategic, many agree they want answers from him too, hopefully at a future debate. Jenny Huh, 17 News.
Now we'll hear more of what the candidates had to say in that debate coming up in about 30 minutes. And then ahead at 6:30, our political analysts will join us in studio to give us their reactions.
And turning now to one of our signature issues here at TV 17, pedestrian safety. A 14-year-old girl is in the hospital in critical condition after she was hit by a car in Central Bakersfield Tuesday night. It happened just before 11 o'clock on Union Avenue, south of California Avenue. The Bakersfield Police Department says the girl was crossing the street outside a crosswalk when she was hit. The driver took off. Police are describing the suspect vehicle as a red sedan. Anyone with information is urged to call the BPD at 327-7111. 17 News is your local election headquarters. 7 GOP presidential hopefuls, went head-to-head in their second debate last night on everything from securing the southern border to ensuring American economic growth.
The far and away frontrunner, once again not in the room, but still competing. Former President Trump holding his own event with auto workers in Michigan. And just as new NBC News poll numbers show, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are in a dead heat. NBC's Drew Petrimo has more.
GOP presidential candidates taking aim at each other and the frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, who wasn't even in the room, but is leading in the polls.
You're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record.
Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight.
The candidate's ire also focused on President Biden, who drew criticism on everything from the economy to border security.
Joe Biden waved the green flag. It told everybody to come. And now we've seen 6 million people cross the border. We've had more fentanyl that have killed Americans in the Iraq, Vietnam, or Afghanistan wars combined.
Wages are not keeping up with inflation. Auto workers and all American workers are feeling it, and families are struggling in this economy.
One issue dividing the Republican candidates, the war in Ukraine.
Our national vital interest is in degrading the Russian military.
The reality is just because Putin's an evil dictator does not mean that Ukraine is good.
We're going to give Ukraine to Russia, and then we're going to give Taiwan to China, and think that's a foreign policy. That will make our nation less successful.
During the debate, Trump speaking to supporters at an auto parts supplier outside Detroit, seeming to poke fun at the candidates debating.
You know, we're competing with the job candidates. They're all running for a job. No, they're all job candidates. They want to be in the, they'll do anything. Secretary of something. They even say VP. I don't know. Does anybody see any VP in the group? I don't think so.
The latest NBC News poll shows Trump leading the Republican primary by 40 points. In a statement, a senior advisor to the Trump campaign called on the Republican National Committee to cancel all future primary debates, calling them boring and inconsequential, and saying they won't change the dynamic of the race. Drew Petrimo, NBC News, Washington.
It has been more than 2 decades since 2 sisters were brutally murdered in their apartment in East Bakersfield. 17's Rob Hagan spoke with family members who haven't given up hope that justice will be served.
It's been 21 years since sisters 18-year-old Emily Gause and 20-year-old Carissa Gause were brutally murdered in their first apartment together on Quincy Street in Bakersfield. It was September 26, 2002. The girls have been dead longer than they were alive.
They'll never be forgotten. They were deeply loved by a lot of people. They had a purpose, a God-given purpose, and they were taken violently. Way too early. There is someone out there that, got away with something, and there's people that know who that person is, guaranteed.
Former live-in boyfriend Richard Arvizu was arrested. After being held for more than a year, Arvizu was released and the district attorney dropped the charges because there was no DNA match. That was 2004. No one has been arrested for the murders since.
I think the family would really be able to heal a little more if the person who committed this heinous crime could be brought to justice. But in the end, we need to keep their memory alive. And I want everybody to know that, they were wonderful girls, sweet, loving girls.
Cousin Michelle DeRuin is now serving as the girls' voice since their dad, Paul, died. She says the DA's office mentioned testing DNA evidence on clothing and the bottle cap of the solvent. DeRuin says that was 2 years ago.
It's time. It's time to come forward and stop permitting evil.
In the meantime, Emily and Carissa's family has not and will not stop in finding justice for the 2 sisters taken too soon. The family has a Facebook page in their honor called Remembering Carissa and Emily Gause. I'm Rob Hagan for 17 News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.